stumped him. He stumped him. He stumped him. Nice block. Wow. Great penetration. Surge through the middle of that. Michigan State first and goal. Yeah. Outstanding play.
Good evening. This is Brian Mosallam along with your co-host Jason Strayhorn, my co-host Jason Strayhorn, alongside another victorious MSU victory. How you doing, Jason?
I'm doing fantastic. 7-0, baby.
7-0?
Has a nice ring to it.
When's the last time we were able to talk about 7-0?
I think the year was 2015.
When was
That's
the
how we say that.
When was the last time Michigan State played Michigan? Both 7-0.
Ooh. We're going back into the dark ages, like 1930.
Come on. Try 99.
There we
1999.
go. There we go.
But they're not 7-0 yet. They got one more game. But, you know, it's nice to go on the road.
No cart before the horse just yet.
Yeah. We got a bye week. We can rest.
Get healthy.
Recruit. Get our heads back together. Collect ourselves. Correct our mistakes. Watch the film. Get some rest. And then get ready for the big one. And, you know, as coaches,
what a big one it is.
Coaches always say, right, the big one's the next one, but we all know what the next one is.
This is the real big one. You know, talk about Michigan game now. It's like officially Michigan week.
Is it though?
Times 2. We get 2 weeks in a row, a bye week going into Michigan week.
But like,
does that help us or hurt us?
Are we ready for is it Michigan week yet?
For us, it is, but for them, it's not. So you know, we have to take the lion out of the cage at the proper time, Brian. Not today. It has to be on October 30th. Today, it's October 19th. Got a long way to go.
19th? Is it?
Yes, Brian.
Don't call me Brian.
It's the 19th.
What did I tell you about call me Brian? Huh?
It's your name.
It is, it is the 19th, and this is a bye week. So we're going to treat it as such. If we're back in our playing days, we're going to treat it as such. But obviously we got, one eye on the prize.
Oh, yeah.
And we know what that prize is. And
Paul Bunyan.
Yep. I mean, it's been, 20-some years since both programs have been undefeated.
Yeah.
Assuming Michigan gets out of, I believe it's Ann Arbor with a victory Saturday. And the hype.
Against Northwestern.
The hype, the crescendo, that's all going to build. Every bit of it's going to build.
Yeah, it's going to keep building. Wish it was a little later kickoff. I know a lot of the Spartans.
Why is it a noon? Whose call is it? Alan Heller? What?
Who are you going to call somebody?
Matishbia? Who made that? Why is it a noon kick? Why is that a noon kick?
Look, half of the fan base likes the noon kickoffs, and the other half, the younger half, likes it later.
Yeah, but if you're a home team, the decided advantage is to play the 3:30 slot, the 4 o'clock slot.
Let's break that down. Why? Why do you want to play later?
Because if you're on the road, you want to play the noon game, right? When you're playing the noon game on the road, the crowd doesn't have time to get juiced all morning.
Yep.
For those of you that don't really know and have played in a game, it's a big advantage on the road to play at noon. Crowd's half awake. They're not there yet. But when you get to that 3:30, 4 o'clock time slot, and especially that 7:30, 8 o'clock time slot, and you're on the road, the game becomes a lot more difficult because the crowd gets a lot more louder, and they feel more on top of you.
Why does he get louder?
I gotta believe there are refreshments that might help them. That's what I gotta believe. But But if you're
And
on
we're
the
in
road,
Michigan. This is a different. This state. There's all kinds of things going on in Michigan now.
This is Michigan. We're both 7-0. It's a noon game. Crowd's going to be loud.
I'm
There's
talking
no
about the
question.
state of Michigan. The laws in the state of Michigan. Not only 21 years old and up, you can drink and do some of that other stuff too.
Ken?
Oh yeah, man. Them relax gummies, all that stuff that people do.
But that'll put
nowadays.
But that'll put you to sleep, though. I mean,
It depends.
We need
It depends.
We need you dialed in and wired.
That student section has to come alive at like 11 a.m. on the 30th.
Excuse me. It's the deep end.
I'm sorry.
The deep end.
My apologies. The deep end.
The deep end has to come alive at 11 a.m.
You better bring it.
They have to be in that stadium. When our young men come out for warm-up, they have to be in that stadium ready to go.
What does it do for the like? Just talk about that. Like, what does it do when you come out of that for warm-ups out of the tunnel and you and like the whole deep end is there?
So when you're an
crazy.
offensive lineman, that's the corner you head into for warm-ups. And when you head into that corner and you look up, and that whole student section, the deep end is full, and they're just amped up, ready to go around 11 a.m., right? Because you go in 11:30 before a noon kick. If you're there for warm-up, that absolutely sets the tone for that game.
Oh, man.
There's
the DJs
no question
up
about
there,
it.
you know, everybody, you know, in their gear, whatever, the faces painted, going nuts, throwing stuff around, you know, the legal stuff, water, having a great time. And you just get your juices. It gets the juices flowing.
Why just legal stuff? just curious. What is?
I don't know.
What illegal stuff could they be throwing around?
Hey, go down to Tennessee and ask Lane Kiffin. They throw a lot of illegal stuff around.
Mustard bottles?
Mustard, French's mustard bottles, golf balls, batteries. I mean, we've seen it all.
You know, but before all that happened,
our fans are classy, but we're going to get to that.
They absolutely are. Before all that happened, we went into Indiana, and which as you and I talked, is a very underrated team, right? They were 2-3. They lost to number 2, 3 and 7. Have an outstanding defense, outstanding Mike linebacker, great corners, and they gave us everything that we could handle. I mean, that
was a play right there that flipped it.
That right there,
Cal Halliday. Baby.
Because if Cal doesn't pick that off and take that in the end zone, it's 9-0.
Ellisburg, PA.
And so we played tremendous defense, right? We held them to quarters.
In case you want to know where he's from.
We held them to field goals all the first half. Couldn't muster any drive in the first half. We had very few first downs, but we were able to get the stops on the goal line in the red zone. It's all about red zone defense, and we're able to get them to kick field goals.
This is it right here.
Yeah, when you can kick field goals and hold them to field goals and go in at half down 9-7, I don't think we had a first down. I don't think we moved the ball once, right?
Yeah, they outgained us 23 first downs to Michigan State's 14.
They did. They absolutely did.
They dominated in a lot of statistical categories. When you really break it down.
So when you looked at the half and you went at half and you saw the stats and you were wondering, what kind of halftime adjustments were we going to make, right? Were we going to come out second half and what kind of ball were we going to play? And I'll tell you what, to coach's credit, right? We made the adjustments at halftime. We came out. We tightened up on defense.
Some of the biggest things they did was they came out with a sense of urgency. You can see the difference on offense, especially. When they came out in second half, they were getting lined up and getting the ball snapped. I think that was the longest carry of the day for Kenneth Walker was that 13-yard carry, and that was because the Indiana defense wasn't even set. They snapped the ball. He didn't even know if he should run the ball or not. He runs, and then good old sneaky Tom Allen, he started doing that, hey, everybody, lay down. And defensive players started falling for no reason. Reason unbeknownst to us, they just fell down. Everybody on that field knows there's a difference. There's a clear, succinct difference between true injuries. We all know. We pretty much know on the field when a guy's hurt. And you could tell when a guy's hurt. And then we also know when the guy's falling down because he wants to get the offense out of rhythm because that's what was happening. And I think it was Connor Hayward made a comment. He was probably 10 yards away from the player who was on the ground that got hurt for no reason. And he got a 15-yard flag. after the 13-yard gain. There were so many penalties against the Hoosiers. And I know, like, coaches can't talk about it. Players don't want to talk about it. Don't want to make any excuses. But 134 yards in penalties compared to
12 pennies.
12 for 120, 134. Indiana had 5 for 35. I mean, come on, guys. I mean, like, they're not angels over there, and we're not devils.
Look, we're not going to make excuses. I mean, we had a couple questionable roughing calls, a couple questionable.
Free Jacob.
Yeah, a couple questionable PI calls.
There's a name for you on defense, Panashuk.
Yeah, yep.
It's hard to say, but get to know it.
Get to know that name because he's been balling all year.
Oh yeah, he's been on the team for 13 years, according to Brian.
When you talk about when you talk about how we came out and we weren't crisp, right? We had the penalties. Their corners played us very well.
Yeah.
Their linebackers played us very well. Their run defense played us very well. Right?
the defense.
Their defense was outstanding. Indiana's defense. That's a good football team now.
A very good football team.
As Mel said, as Coach Tucker said, that is a very good football team. And their record is very misleading because when you lose to number 2, 3, and 7, you're a little bit better than advertised. No. And on a couple bounces here and there, but when you look at the mistakes that we made, you look at the way that we played, and to come out of there with a win, and winning's hard. Winning's hard. Winning on the road is even harder. And 12 penalties, 134 yards, couple picks, and getting out of there with a win is probably even harder, right?
Yeah, just a little bit harder.
So credit to coach, credit to the staff, credit to the young men because they went into a tough place to play, which was perceived as a trap game, and were able to come out of there with a W. And I got to say, like, that builds character.
Oh, without question, it builds character because, we know from the Michigan State side of things, the players and the staff, they weren't really looking at this as a trap game. They were looking at it as more of a, workman's like business trip. But when we got to Bloomington, it sure felt like a trap game. I mean, they had the team staying out in, somewhere out in no man's land. Where the Shining was filmed, or what's that other movie? Deliverance. Deliverance is out there. We saw the banjo play. Man, there's no food. There's no cell service. You get to the stadium. I mean, they've done a phenomenal job with that stadium. They've closed it on both ends. And, I mean, Indiana. You remember Indiana? The old Indiana we played. They used to have a capacity of 30,000, and only 10 would show up. And most of those were our moms and dads.
6,000. 6. Most of them were our parents, yep.
Now they got like 60, and everybody's there. I mean, they were cheering. They were getting after it on third down. I mean, it was loud in that stadium. And they believed that they were going to pull that off, man. I mean, you can see it. You can feel the energy from the people that were there for their homecoming, another homecoming scheduled. Michigan State, again, scheduled for a homecoming, which is
right, the third homecoming of the year.
I mean, it's unbelievable how many homecomings we've had. And they thought they were going to have a happy homecoming, and they believed and they could have. Michigan State only coming out with a narrow victory by 5 points, but it was a great win.
You know what's funny about being scheduled as somebody else's homecoming game is that they're expected to beat you. So far, Vegas had us winning over under 4.5 wins, finishing last in the Big Ten East. So if we are your scheduled homecoming game, you're expecting to win that game.
Yes.
And this is our third homecoming game on the road. So that speaks volumes as to where Melbourne.
Why wouldn't it be a homecoming game at home?
Huh?
We had one at home too.
I know. I get that. But we're supposed to be the road team's fodder.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's roadkill.
That's my point.
That's what you schedule for homecoming, the roadkill. Like, hey, we got this one.
So now
that's what the athletic director saying.
Look,
10 years in advance.
Yeah, right. 10 years in advance. But credit to Tom Allen. He's done a hell of a job. I mean, when you watch Indiana play, they play hard. They got athletes. They look so much different than they did 6 years ago even.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, different.
So
this
much
is not
different.
your.
You're from Naptown. Tell us.
This is not your grandfather's Indiana University. Look, I
Fathers
grew up watching.
or grandfathers?
Not even your cousins. Your cousins that you grew up with. That's not that Indiana. This is a new Indiana, man. I mean, they play ball. They play hard-nosed defense. They get after it. Tom Allen has got his recruits coming in there. I mean, there's a buzz down in Bloomington that we haven't seen before. And then you look at what's going on at Purdue. I mean, Purdue beat the number 2 out of Iowa. You know,
the number 2 out of Iowa.
That was one of the greatest lines of the weekend. Purdue knocks off number 2 Iowa and beat the number 2 out of, and then you had Notre Dame. So Indiana's got some football going on, you know. But hey, listen, since then I came up north, and I signed with a team called Michigan State, and
so it's not Hoosiers. You're telling me. You're telling me they got some football that they're playing.
Yeah,
down there.
no, it's not Hoosiers. It's not Hickory High. No.
So when we watched that game and we saw illegal formations, we saw you know,
holding, illegal procedures.
We saw offensive pass interference. We saw a lot of correctable mistakes.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
And to Coach Tucker's credit, he acknowledged there's a lot of mistakes that are correctable. And you know, something tells me we probably need to correct these things heading into 2 weeks from now. But when you look at a lot of the mistakes, some of the roughing the passer calls where I thought were questionable at best, some were borderline brutal. I mean, absolutely.
I mean, what are you watching? What are you looking at? What? Panashuk, do we have that highlight?
Do we have Panashuk's highlight of him like falling out of bounds and the guy pushing him and them calling a roughing the passer?
I mean,
some of the stuff I'm watching, and I'm no expert. I don't know anything about football. I have no clue, honestly. And I get protecting the quarterback. I totally understand that. But what are we watching half the time? What am I looking at that you're looking at that's different? I swear to you, I'm so confused because Panashuk's been called for at least 3 or 4 roughings that to me were like they made zero sense at all.
I think he scares people because he looks mean. He looks like one of those guys, but he's a nice guy. He's a good guy.
He
plays hard.
The guy at the end, the Indiana guy pushed him. He like held on, falling out of bounds, and they call him for roughing the passer. Honestly, I was wondering what are we watching here? What are we doing?
Seen anything like it with one player that to call the same kind of penalty. These are different officiating crews doing the same thing, calling on the same player.
I'm not going to mention any refs by name O'Neal.
No way. We would never mention O'Neal's name.
Don't ever mention O'Neal's name. But it just seems like every time he's. You know, we're not trying to make excuses here, but every time O'Neal is involved in one of our games, there's a lot of flags that fly.
Minimum of 12. I mean,
I don't want to mention any names.
3 a quarter.
I'm not going to blame anybody.
Star.
I'm not blaming anybody.
It's a lot of TV time.
Listen, a lot of TV time. You deserve it. Ratings are through the roof when you throw that yellow flag. The ratings are through the roof. And so,
does he have a Twitter? O'Neal, he got an Instagram or something. I mean, the guy's got a following. I mean, he's popular.
Why every time we get him, we have questionable calls? I'm just asking.
Right. We're not making this up. Review the tape. This is real. It's unbelievable.
It's so funny because
we're saying what you can't say because listen, we're not coaches.
It's our show. Doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. It's our opinion.
Yeah, it's our opinion.
/ fact.
But it's fact. It's fact too. But but I swear, you know how many texts I got about O'Neal that day? O'Neal's roughing the game. Oh boy, O'Neal. Why do I have multiple Spartans telling me that and mentioning to me O'Neal's name? How does Spartan Nation know O'Neal's name? That's what I want to know. I didn't know his name before the game. I got text after text after text that made me wonder why. How is that happening?
There were certain guys in the booth, in the broadcast booth, that would circle it. Nobody that's on air, and before the game, and point while we were talking. I'm like, oh, there's that O'Neal name. We're in trouble. We're in trouble. By halftime, I think we had 8 penalties. It was incredible. This guy, I don't know, man.
And listen, anyway, victory's done. So now we head into the bye week with you-know-who looming. All right? Michigan is looming heading into the bye week, and which should set up an absolute showdown in East Lansing. Let me ask you a question. Do you want them to beat Northwestern or not?
I do. I want them to beat Northwestern. I think that is good. It's for the brand, for the game itself. You want to have 2 undefeated teams. We don't want no excuses.
We get a noon kick.
I know the noon kick does suck.
We get a noon kick.
It sucks.
What about the brand?
It does well for the brand. I think
we're counting on Michigan for the brand. They put you on at noon. So much for the brand. Well,
some people think that is prime time. Those 85 and up.
Yeah, sure.
They think 12 noon is prime time. But my dad's 85.
My dad's 81. My dad loves the noon game.
My dad
absolutely
loves
the noon game.
My dad likes any game. He loves all the games.
Why are we playing Michigan at noon?
No respect. They think that Penn State, Ohio State is a better night game. Which is traditionally it has been a night game. But why not at 3:30? I don't understand.
I believe the World Series.
Fox has got their big noon kick deal. We got Gus Johnson in the house.
We'll take Gus.
Oh yeah,
Gus enjoyable. Joel Klatt, another story.
K9.
We will take Gus Johnson.
I want to hear him screaming K9.
So tell me about Michigan State this week, right? This is the bye week. Is it Joe Klatt or Joel Klatt?
It's Klatt.
All right, Klatt. Tell me about this week with the bye week looming. Michigan has a game. What are the advantages and disadvantages for MSU heading into the bye week this week?
Well, advantages are get healthy. Everybody gets a chance to get healthy, get back to fundamentals, work on your technique, and just have basic practice this week and work on correcting some of those mistakes that you were talking about from a penalty standpoint. I think the disadvantages are sometimes you can get out of rhythm. You can lose a step, and it can take you half a quarter or, worst case, up to a quarter to adjust to the speed of the game. And that's why you want to start fast. That's why people talk about when you're on the road, you want to start fast, especially with a team coming off a bye week because they haven't played in a game in a week. Michigan having a game on Saturday, coming into Michigan State, coming into East Lansing, they have an advantage of game speed. But they're going to be a little bit more worn down. You got Michigan State's going to have the fresh legs. So there's the little internal battle between the 2 locker rooms, if you will, the tale of 2 locker rooms. Coaches are going to get a chance from the Michigan State side to go out and do some recruiting, get away from it all for a second. Mel Tucker has done a phenomenal job of having a great family balance of life with the staff. So he's going to let them, breathe a little bit, let the players breathe a little bit and collect their thoughts. But he knows there's a big game looming. And next week, all bets are off, man. Next week, they're going to be back at it going 55 miles an hour on the freeway, trying to take it easy. Not trying to take it easy.
Yeah, but when you played, did you like the bye week?
Yeah, I love the bye week.
See, I never did.
I loved it.
I did not like the bye week. I feel like
treatment.
But I just felt like you got out of your rhythm. You got out of your momentum, especially like if you lost. You got that nasty taste in your mouth for 2 weeks.
Man, you must have lost a lot of times. I don't know.
Hey, you were on many of those teams, so
Yeah, that was when I was a youngster. But yeah, losing and then going into a bye week sucks. That's terrible. Yeah, but winning, have some injuries, you got to get that extra. You go see Jeff and Sally in the training room. And then you start to become human again. My hands actually do work. My back, my knees, they don't ache all the time.
So what advantage do you have game planning for Michigan or the next opponent? and a bye week.
More film.
More film.
Yeah, you get to watch tendencies. You get to break them down. Usually you don't have that much time to break an opponent down. You have less than a week. You have now with all the iPads and things that players are able to have to watch film 24 hours a day that we didn't have back in the Stone Ages. But 2 weeks of that? I mean, and they've been watching little film on Michigan all year long.
All year long.
Yeah. And then you get a chance to take that film and then apply it to the game. They're going to watch Northwestern in real time and say, okay, now I'm anticipating this is what he's going to do in this formation. That's it. Oh, no, I was wrong there. So it gives you a leg up, if you will, to be able to prepare, because you can prepare for them, watch them play a live game that's not you, and then prepare some more and then play them in real life.
You're right about that, because you can spend all week watching their tendencies, all week watching about, what kind of defense they play, which way they run, whatever offense they run.
Oh, yeah.
And then you can compare it to the way they game plan against Northwestern. Absolutely. And while you're watching that game, you can say, oh, yeah, I saw this on film, or this is their tendency on first down, or this is their slant to the wide side, or that they're playing the under defense to the weak side. I mean, these are the things you're absolutely right.
Oh, yeah.
That you can validate while you're watching a Northwestern game.
Yeah, we should do that. We should have people in here and break down film and go through that so they can feel what it's like to break down film with two old washed-up offensive linemen.
I'm telling you, breaking down film with the telestrator, if I can just get that yellow circle to come on the TV and
that red laser.
Yeah, that red laser. It is fascinating, because I'll tell you right now, when you watch film from the tight copy from the sideline, and then you watch it from the end zone, it looks so easy.
The game looks easy.
You're like, we block this guy here, we're out the gate. We're gone. Or we're one block away here, gone. See this guy right here? If he doesn't fall, gone. And so when you're watching TV, you're like, what is he doing? Or why are they running up the middle? Why are they running completely straight up the middle?
No one's ever said that before.
But you do. And then you watch the film and you're like, you're saying, God dang, one guy and this guy's gone.
Yep.
This is why we ran up the middle. So when you watch film on TV, or you watch a game on TV, and you just see a big pile in the middle of the field, and you wonder, what are they doing? Why would they call that? You really don't know until you watch the film to understand what they're doing. It's pretty fascinating, actually. Football is such an intricate game of chess. It's such a fascinating game of X's and O's that, if you truly understand the game, it is so complex and so complicated. There's no perfect answer. It's just a piece of clay where you're molding, and you're always working on perfection. And you learn, you copycat, you learn from other coaches, you learn other schemes, and then schemes become outdated. And it's very, very interesting. Football's a fascinating game. That's what attracted us to.
Oh, we love the game.
Oh, we love the game.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you learn what their rules of engagement are, when they play, what their techniques are, what they're being taught on defense is what we use and we counter what they're being taught in order to give us an advantage on offense, and vice versa. Everyone studies. I mean, the more you study, the better you are. You hear guys like Deion Sanders that, he's ridiculous athletic ability. But the film, the guy, yeah, he loved the style, he loved them Jerry curls and all the gold chains and limousines. But if you pay attention to what he was as a player, and he talks about this every time he gets a chance, he watched that film. He watched film until the very moment he walked out on that field to play. So he was trying to pick up an edge, trying to pick up a tell, just like a great poker player. He's going to try to figure out, is he bluffing or is he not? And that makes you faster when you know and you studied enough to be able to guess right. You're faster on the field, and we know speed kills.
I can't tell you how many times we watch film with Nick Saban, and he would tell a player, Ike Reese, what did I tell you to do in this play? Where are you supposed to be? if you were here, what would have happened? And Ike would have said, and I'm just saying Ike would have said, I would have made the play. And Coach would say, I was better off putting a garbage can there.
Yeah.
Because they're so right. That if you just read your keys, where you were supposed to be, instead of out of position, that a garbage can could have probably made the play before you did. I mean, it's fascinating.
But, like those guys, like Coach Saban was in his 40s. I mean, he'll be 70.
He looked 71 back then.
He did. He did look 71. But you're talking to a guy who's 18 to 22 years old, who's watched, maybe 37 minutes of film in his life. And
40.
these coaches, 42 minutes of film. And these coaches have watched, decades worth of film and tendencies. I think Coach Saban was in some of those meetings with Lombardi when he was breaking down the power sweep. and he with one play, Lombardi, it's legendary. One play he would break down for 6 hours.
Wow.
6 hours at coaching clinics. One play. So you think it's not complex? The game is complex, and it just looks like a bunch of guys going to the left and tossing the ball. No, it's all about angles, steps,
technique, leverage, everything.
All 11 guys. All 11 guys on that field going in the same direction, doing the proper thing. And it's hard to do. And that's what Michigan State challenges teams to do from a defensive standpoint, is to be able to, hey, we're going to let you get your yards, but we don't believe you're going to be able to put together 5, 10 to 15 play drives. We don't think you can do it and actually score.
That is exactly right. That's why if you're watching Michigan State and you get frustrated that we're giving up yards, bend but don't break, there is a reason why. It is very hard to go 11, 12, 13 plays and score. To get 11 players in unison doing the same thing. There is bound to be a mistake. From a turnover to a false start to a holding to whatever, a missed block. It is very, very difficult. That's why when you hear coaches say we have to control the explosive plays and the big plays, that's what they mean. Mm-hmm. They mean make them go 11, 12, 13 plays. It's very, very hard to do. It's a lot harder than it looks because everybody has to be on the same page. And sometimes people really don't understand, and they get frustrated. Michigan State gave up 400 yards passing, yet they got 9 points at halftime. Right? It's bend but don't break. These are the things about football that really, you have to understand. If you don't give up explosive plays, you have a chance to be in the game. Speaking of explosive, Coach D'Antonio.
Next week.
Coach D.
Coach us, Coach. Coach D's going to be here.
Coach D's going to join us, the legend. We got the tape?
Just come out and say what you're feeling at some point in time, because I can only be diplomatic for so long. Okay? The little brother stuff, all the disrespect, it doesn't have to go in that direction. We've tried to handle ourselves with composure. That doesn't come from the coach. That comes from the program. And throwing the stake down in our backyard out here and coming out there like they're all that, it got shoved up. It got shoved the last minute and a half, and we were not going to pull off of that. Just come out and say what's your.
How exciting is that going to be?
It's going to be fun. It's going to be fun. He hasn't done many interviews since he hung up the headset. This is going to be interesting.
I'll tell you
Had
what.
one heck of a career record against Michigan, I'll tell you that.
Coach D has changed the trajectory of this rivalry. I believe he's 9-4 in his 13 years against Michigan, and he really changed the way we looked at this rivalry, and he made it the focal point. Every year he made it the most important game of the schedule, and it's going to be really nice to have him here next week because, God, from pride comes before the fall to little brother to, they're
going to mock us.
You're going to mock us. They can mock us all they want. It's not over. It'll never be over. It's just getting started. Like he.
Mike Hart's going to be on that sideline, isn't he? Or up in the booth.
Yeah. Yep.
He's going to be over there.
All 5'4" of them. He'll be there. And so it'll be a pleasure to have Michigan State's all-time winningest coach, Coach D'Antonio, next week join us to talk a little bit about what the rivalry meant to him, what it meant to the program, and how it changed the trajectory of the program. And we're extremely excited, I'll tell you. It's did a hell of a job. Michigan State's all-time winningest coach. History will be kind to him, and he's been looking good, though. It's nice to see him in Coach Tuck's office.
Yeah, it's real nice to see him around the program still. In Coach Tuck's office, you see him at practice. I've seen him in Miami. He's around, man. I mean, he's a figure that did a lot for this university. And when you look at this roster right now, people say what you want about Coach D'Antonio in his career at Michigan State as being the all-time winningest coach in Michigan State history. He left some meat on the bone here. If you look at the players that are making the plays, the players that are contributing the most on this roster right now, it's a lot of D'Antonio players. Everybody talks about the 41 new faces that Mel Tucker's gone out and gotten. Obviously Kenneth Walker being the headliner of that from Wake Forest. But when you talk about Cal Halliday, you talk about Jacob Pondashuk, you talk about Speedy Naylor, Jaden Reed, transfer. Jaden Reed's a transfer. Peyton Thorne. These are all D'Antonio guys. These are guys that were recruited under Mark D'Antonio, and he has done a phenomenal job. He likes to see those guys. He talks to them at practice a little bit. They come up to him, hey, Coach, it's good to see you, because he's a father figure, and that's what it's about. And him and Mel have a great relationship. Coach Mel Tucker have a great relationship. Slightly different philosophies, but when you think about where they came from, both of them, defensive back specialist guys, both of them underneath Saban, and they've gone on to have great careers. Obviously Mel Tucker's at the beginning of his as a head coach, and Coach D'Antonio having the career that he had at Michigan State as a head coach. So it's awesome to see, and having him around to really set that tone for what this game means, and it's just it's a huge pleasure for all of us.
We're excited. We got some. What's next?
What we got? Some what?
Some rumors.
We got some rumors. Oh man.
What? Why are we bringing this up?
Look, it has been said, Brian, that the powers that be at LSU are pursuing Mel Tucker to be the next head coach for the Louisiana State Tigers. Coach Orgeron, they have agreed to part ways at the end of this season. What are you going to say about that?
What do I think? Here's what I think.
Here's what you think?
Where's it at? You got the pick? That was the odds.
See that?
What do I think
Plus
of those
200.
odds?
Plus 200. He's the leader.
Here's what I think of those odds. Right there. Next topic.
Oh, you going to put the billionaire up there?
Next topic.
Come on, man.
Come on. Go ahead.
What are you going to, what?
SEC media rights, what do you want to talk about? Go with that bull crap. Go.
I mean, to your point, the SEC, everybody talks about how deep the pockets of the SEC are. They have all that oil money, all that sugar money, but their SEC network deal is running out, and they're looking to re-up. And they're looking to negotiate somewhere in the neighborhood of $300 million per year for all 14 schools. That comes out to about, what, $20 million?
Yeah, but the Big Ten media rights is $440 per year through 2024. I guess the point of all this is that this is where we're headed, right? 2 mega conferences. It's going to get bigger. NIL is going to play a bigger role.
300 to 440. Huh?
Yeah, I mean, the Big Ten has a bigger media right than the SEC. For anybody doubts the Big Ten's power and national appeal, I mean, those numbers speak for themselves. And this is something that I think, is very, very important when you look at the national landscape, right? At the end of the day.
What does that have to do with the coaches? If you have more media rights?
You have more money to spread around. That's what it got to do.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So we tie in the LSU rumor in the billionaire.
You're tying the LSU rumor.
Billionaire and TV deals equal. Mel Tucker ain't going nowhere. Is that what I'm hearing?
We have billionaires. We have a
Plural.
we have a big TV deal, and we're gonna go from there. Why we're showing odds on what Vegas has is irrelevant. We got a game to play in 2 weeks.
Where does Vegas come up a line like that? I don't know. Hey, listen, Coach Tucker has done a phenomenal job being an African American black head coach here that Bill Beekman was able to hire, the former athletic director. Hats off to Bill and everything he was able to do.
Bill Beekman has not received enough credit for that hire, and Alan Haller, quite frankly.
Yeah.
I mean, Alan's been involved in both hires, Mark D'Antonio and Bill Beekman.
Yep.
Or Mel Tucker. But Beekman deserves credit for that. I mean, that's Beekman's hire. He's 7-0.
Yeah.
Alan led that search. And as much as people want to talk about what direction the athletic department's going in, they've made some outstanding decisions.
Great decisions. Landed the biggest donor in MSU history.
Sure did.
32 million?
32 mil.
Yeah. That picture you just showed, Matt Ishbia.
I mean,
that's a Beekman
he
deal.
gave because of his love to the university, because of his love for Tom Izzo, and his belief in the programs and the viability. He's also put together the largest NIL deal in the history of in the country so far.
Yes, he has.
And that's because he loves the programs, and he knows that if football and basketball are successful, that that'll all permeate down to other programs, non-revenue sports, especially women's programs.
He's a dog, man. Matt Ishbia is a real Spartan dog.
I'm telling you, especially.
How many billionaires played on the national championship team, basketball, with the Flintstones? How many?
The first thing out of his mouth, he said, if I help basketball and football, I know it'll help every other women's sport. Okay?
Yeah.
To me, that's somebody that has a vision.
Yes.
Honestly, it really is.
I know he took a lot of heat for that, but, I mean, Matt, he's going, hey.
How do you take
heat? It's coming.
Say thank you.
It's coming.
Thank you, say he. Let's move on to the Lions real quick. Let's talk about
your favorite Lions. Did they win this week? The coach cried. Hold on. Dan cried and captured our hearts last week. And what happened? Moose, I want you to tell me what happened after he captured our hearts last week.
Well, the Lions went out and, crapped the proverbial bed. Right? It was a lackluster performance. And if you watch some of the highlights, do you have any highlights of the game, Sawyer?
They played so bad, it's just not even worth showing them.
Right?
It ain't even worth it. There is no highlight.
I mean, if you talk.
Can we show some golf incompletions? Can we show
I'll see what I can dig up.
I mean, if you talk about, forget it. Sawyer, don't even show any highlights. I mean, if you talk about the way they came out. So here's a coach who went on national TV after the last game, cried. You felt it, right? He felt the pain of Detroiters, felt the pain of his fans, stood by them. You said to yourself, players are coming out to play from this week. There's no question. They're going to come answer the bell. I turned the TV on at 17-0. It's 17-0.
Before you got out of bed.
Before I got out of bed. Woke up 2 o'clock. 17-0. Looked at the final score, 34-11. Looked at Jeff Goff's stats. watch the way he played. He's clearly not the blame, but he's not the answer either. Is it time to bench Jeff Goff?
For who? That's my only question.
I was going to ask you. For who? Who we benching him for?
Like, you're going to go in and if it's for you, no. Keep him in there.
How about my dad?
No. He is better than you and your dad and me and my dad. He is better than the rest of us out here. But as far as an elite quarterback, we got a long way to go.
I mean, we are so depleted at talent. You know, you talk
This
about...
might be the worst roster in NFL history.
I mean, they battle. No.
Listen, that word right there is exactly what you say when a team has no talent. They battled. They didn't quit. What are they all going to literally walk off the field?
66-yard field goal to beat them. Last second field goal against Minnesota to beat them.
Dan's in an impossible situation.
They're playing for him.
Yeah, but he's in an impossible situation.
They did not play for him last week. Can we lay blame on the quarterback?
They're going to bench him next year for the #1 pick in the NFL draft.
Who's that going to be?
Kid from Liberty. I don't know. We're going to see.
Liberty.
Yeah, they got a sweet quarterback.
Do they?
Oh, yeah.
Sam Retigliano still the coach there? You don't remember who that is, do you?
Retigliano.
Remember him? He was the Browns coach.
Oh, yeah.
Remember? He was the Liberty.
Wow.
Who's that kid transfer at Michigan State we played with from Liberty? Trey.
Man, you see
Trey Sarton.
Sarton.
Is that right?
This guy right here. This is Google brain.
Is it time to bench Jeff Goff?
No.
Because
let him play. There's no substitute
$46.
right now.
Who's the backup? Who? Tell me.
Your dad.
Besides my dad, who is the backup for the Lions?
No clue.
There is no clue.
Who? You tell me. I don't care.
Dan
like,
Orlovsky. What do you mean I tell you?
Yeah. Bring him out off of ESPN and get him under center and let him run out of the back of the end zone like he did against the Vikings. I love how smart he's gotten since he took them damn cleats off.
He's never wrong. He's fantastic.
He's unbelievable, this guy. Unbelievable.
Hey, you mean to tell me Dan Orlovsky could not back up the Detroit Lions at all?
He did. He had his day, and he cost us a safety against Jared Allen. He peed down his leg because Jared Allen
I think we got to
roared at him.
We got to get into some of the comments made by our counterpart here.
Our
part of our team.
No, a Michigan guy.
A Michigan guy.
Yeah.
All right. And my phone hasn't stopped all day today.
Mm-hmm.
So Braylon Edwards takes a shot at Michigan State's defense and then takes a shot at MSU's fan base. Do we have the shot against the defense, Sawyer?
Yes. I wish Alex Mayer was here. Sits right there where Easy is sitting, so he can hear this clear as day. And I hope he's listening, because he's gonna get in his feelings after I give this take. He's gonna get in his feelings. Nebraska gave Indiana the blueprint. Indiana just did it better. Answer me this question, Ryan and Mike.
Yep.
Name me one player on Michigan State's defense. Don't worry, I'll wait.
Can't.
All year, they have been playing average on defense. You don't even know a name. You can't give me a name because they don't have anybody that has stepped up. Their defense is a basic defense. Now going to that offense.
Yes.
I wish Alex Mayer was.
Name one player on Michigan State defense. Armani over there co-signing too. He don't know nobody.
So is he like being a hot take artist, or he has no clue?
He probably doesn't know. But he'll learn on October 30th names like Ponashuk. He'll learn.
Matt Ishbia.
Matt Ishbia. Look at that. Look. See.
Hey, Braylon.
There's a list right there for you. Aiden Hutchinson.
We're going to help you out, Braylon. Just to kind of help you out, get you ready for your next show, brother. When we look at the PFF has the number one quarterback pressures in the country. There's a kid at Michigan State named Jacob Panashuk. He leads the country in quarterback pressures.
And penalties of roughing the passer.
Yeah, that's okay. Go back to that stat. Aiden Hutchinson, who's a fantastic player, projected first rounder. He's fourth in the country. So, Braylon, if you have any issues identifying anybody on Michigan State's defense, his name is Jacob Panashuk. He leads the country in pressures ahead of your top 10 draft pick. Just so you know.
Give him a little cheat sheet. We're
hand them
carrying is sharing. Sharing is caring.
Yeah. So
we're going to help you out.
Sawyer, print that and hand it to him for him so he understands for his next show. How about the next? Do we have another stat for him? So there's only 2 teams with top 10 graded offenses and defenses in the country, and Michigan State's one of them.
And look who's the other one?
Georgia.
Who happens to be number what?
Yeah, the best team in the country. Number 1.
Okay.
So when you look at the grades, Braylon, so we can help you out here. I'm not sure what your grade point was at Michigan. I'm not sure you even know, but we grade out.
He didn't go there to play no school, man. You know that,
huh?
He didn't go to Michigan to play no school.
No. He didn't play no
Number
school.
3 draft pick.
Yeah, I don't blame him. Good for him. Good for him. So we have one of the top graded offense and defense in the country. Just to kind of help you out, Braylon, for your next show, so you don't get blown up on Twitter, Instagram. But that's probably what you wanted.
He likes that kind of stuff, man.
Yeah, it's okay. I get it. I understand. Being a hot take artist. This last clip here got you a lot of attention. You want to play that for us?
Then to the Michigan State fans who are chomping the wood.
Here we go.
And here chomping the wood and blah 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 blah. Michigan State players. Michigan State players. Don't forget this same Michigan State fan base. They were talking stuff about Mel Tucker last year. They wanted him fired last year.
LSU's next coach.
Before the Michigan game last year, you guys were using racial slurs. Some of you, not all of you. You were using racial slurs. You wanted him fired. Say he was a horrible coach. Michigan State was a horrible talent. You said all that. And then they beat Michigan and things changed. And now all of a sudden they're 6-0, and it's like, chopping the wood. Michigan State players, don't forget what that fan base said about you. Play for yourselves, and not what the fan base says on Twitter.
7-0. Can't name one. Can't name one.
I mean, so we gotta talk about racism now. We're gonna bring racism into fan base, into this matchup between Michigan and Michigan State. Braylon,
really, Braylon, really? You dropped enough balls in your life. You want to drop this one?
It's a big one to drop.
Seriously?
Because
that's how you want to play this one.
You
want to bring that up when Michigan State has a history of diversity. Michigan State's the first school to integrate players from the South. Really? You want clicks? You want clickbait? You want
talk
attention?
about Willis Ward, Michigan, Fielding Yost? You want to talk about that? Restricting the black player, to play, to even come to the stadium at Michigan. Your school.
Is that
because the team Georgia Tech didn't want to play against black people? You want to bring up race between the schools? Like talk about look, we need to leave that out of it. We're not talking about race. What you name me the last black head coach of Michigan football? Braylon, do that.
Name them. Hold on. 1 second.
Okay. Don't start talking about race in football, man. This is a game. Racism is life, real life. We don't want to start going down a road that you don't want to go down. Because this is a friendly battle between the young men on that field and the people that cheer for each team, and that's fine. But when you start trying to do things and say things like that just for clicks or retweets or whatever the hell you're trying to do, you've gone too far. You've crossed the line, man. You know, cheap shots is your thing. Stop doing that crap. I'm going to tell you right now. Leave the race out of it, brother, because you don't want to go down that road. Okay? This is a friendly battle between the green and white versus the maize and that other, whatever that color is. Okay? So we're just going to leave it right there and keep it gentleman, or we can get into some gangster stuff. But I don't think you want to go there. Do you, Braylon?
Don't get me started right now. As a person of color, just don't get me started. This is a game. It's a game. It's a friendly rivalry. This is two schools that are integrated in many ways, many more ways that you would even know. And to interject race in a football game, shame on you.
As a former player, you know better than that. As a former
player, we all grew up in that locker room. That locker room transcends race. That locker room, nobody knew if you were Muslim, black, white, orange, yellow. It didn't matter. Sure, there's idiots on both sides that would make dumb comments. Sure, there was. But this is a game. This is a game. This is a game. Race is not a game. That's a whole different story. And for you to go down that road to worry about getting attention and getting clickbaits and getting people to watch your video,
shame on you.
Shame on you. That's disgusting. Absolutely disgusting. You know what?
Man, we're going to leave it right there, man.
Yeah, I'm a reserve comment because I'm hot right now. I'm going to leave it.
We didn't plan to talk about this stuff. I mean, it all came out just literally within the last few hours here.
Just forget it. Because that's not the way Spartans are. And you know what? That's not the way Wolverines are either.
No, not real Wolverines. Not real ones.
Not real ones. Nobody talks about that garbage. Nobody mentions that shit when we're playing a football game. It's a game. We're on the field, and you know as well as I do. You know as well as I do, and Jason knows as well as I do. When we get on that field, nobody knows what's on the back of your jersey.
Nobody cares.
Nobody cares. Nobody cares what religion you are. Nobody cares what color you are. Nobody cares where you came from. Nobody cares. They only care about what's on the front of that jersey. And why don't we keep it at that when it comes to that game? But when you make comments like that, and you talk about our people.
Inflammatory.
Spartan Nation. Yeah. Our people. People that we know very, very well. Sure, you got idiots. You got idiots on both sides. But when you make stupid-ass comments like that, you deserve to get slapped on air. That's what you deserve, quite frankly. And we are going to leave it at that because I'm going to stop when it comes to that. I'm done. Stop me, Jason. Yeah. Stop me.
We're done. We're going to leave it there.
Stop
Let sleeping dogs lie.
Let's move on to Nostradamus.
Okay, well, you know.
You got me hot for a second.
Michigan's going to win, but Northwestern's going to cover. The 23.5 is a lot of points, man. I think Michigan's good, but, you know, they're going to stumble a little bit there. So pound, and I mean pound, those Wildcats. Go Cats.
You're talking covering the 23.5. Is that what you're talking?
Go Cats.
He's Jason Strayhorn is saying take the 23.5. Bet the Northwestern Wildcats legally, of course. Legally. I'm going to give you a lock of the century. Absolute lock of the century. Moose's lock this week. Take this to the bank. Michigan State will go into the Michigan game undefeated. There it is.
Without question, ladies and gentlemen.
Without question.
There it is.
You had it. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us tonight. I am your co-host, Brian Mosallam, alongside my co-host, Jason Strayhorn, on Inside the Locker Room. We will see you next week with Coach D'Antonio. Take care and go green.